Hello everyone, welcome back to Shikara Academy. So, in today's video, I am going to discuss the syllabus of governance and how to study governance, what is the strategy, what type of questions have been asked in prelims and mains for Group 1 examinations. So, in case of governance, we have different topics like good governance, e-governance, citizen-centric administration, transparency, accountability, right to information, role of civil society, public policy, how it is implemented, a role of bureaucracy, what is ethical governance, uh, topics about corruption, Lokpal, Lokayukta, different organizations like Vigilance Commission, Central Bureau of Investigation, what is the role of different commissions, and how governance is happening in India and also in Telangana. So these are the various topics. So let us analyze these topics one by one. So the first topic of our syllabus is governance and good governance. So this is the first topic, governance and good governance. So how the administration functions, how the executive functions, how the results of administration or the government are reaching the citizens, what is the channels between the citizens and the system. So in this, we have a new development called e-governance, and there are many applications of e-governance. For example, if you look into the Aadhaar Jam Trinity, we have Jandhan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity, through which poor people were also given free bank accounts, zero account bank accounts. Through that, the government, which earlier used to give the money to poor people through middlemen, now it is directly depositing into their bank accounts. So, this e-governance step has curbed the leakages which were happening in different schemes. So, in this way, direct transfers were possible, even for application of any identity cards, application of any sort of things. Even if you go to MRO office or you go to correct some Aadhaar details, etc., everything is happening online. Even on a larger scale, to establish companies, to take permissions, everything is happening through e-governance. So what is the importance of governance? Everything, the system is functioning through governance, right? So this is a very important topic. Many questions in prelims and mains will be asked in this topic. So we will see how governance is happening at union level. As in, we have at the union level, we have prime minister and cabinet of prime minister, cabinet ministers. So for them, there will be a secretariat called cabinet secretariat. So all the functions, executive functions happen over there. Even in Telangana, if you see, we have Telangana Secretariat, the new building which is constructed. So government's function happens through Secretariat. So the executive function is looked through the Secretariat. So we understand Cabinet Secretariat and what is the role of Prime Minister's office. And recently, there have been questions where it said that the Prime Minister's office is reducing the importance of Cabinet Secretariat by taking major decisions itself without involving Cabinet. Prime Minister's office is holding a very important position. So, what is the difference between Prime Minister's office and Cabinet Secretariat? How, when we have a strong Prime Ministers, when we have strong Chief Ministers, the PMO or CMO becomes very strong. Whereas when we have governments where we have uh, coalition governments, the Cabinet Secretariat will be strengthened. So, what is the difference between them? How they are functioning? Is there any conflict between them? Those things we have to understand. And we also have central secretariat, different ministries and departments, how they function, how they give their services to the people, how they are connected to different channels must be understood here. We also understand different constitutional bodies. We have many constitutional bodies. Actually, this is also a part of polity, but it is kept in the governance section because these bodies are also governing different things. So we have finance commission, we have election commission, we have UPSC, we have comptroller and auditor general of India, CAG, which is a constitutional body. So it is a very important constitutional body. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has said that I am creating the most important office of the constitution, which is the office of CAG, because it is what is the main function of the legislature. One is to make laws and other is to keep the executive in check. So the main function which the executive does involves finances. Without finances, nothing happens. So those bodies who are auditing the finances will be a very important body. So CAG audits the finances of the government. Hence, it is very important body, because in democracy, people have right to information. When they have the information of how government is functioning, people can question the government. So that is the core of our democracy. So CAG is very important. Finance Commission is very important, because how the because India has federalism in such a way where it is tilted towards unitary model, where it is tilted, the more powers are given to the union, whereas the states have lesser powers. And finances are also tilted towards the union government, because union gets more finances. Hence the finances has to be distributed among the states. So how they have to be distributed, what are the formula which must be applied to distribute the finances, is given by the Finance Commission. We have Election Commission, which is the pillar of free and fair elections in a democracy. It is a pillar of democracy. The responsibility of conducting free and fair elections is the responsibility of the Election Commission. So what are the changes happening? There are different amendments which happened in the appointment of the election commissioners. So all those things are very important in this regard. Then we have commissions like National Human Rights Commission, National Commissions for SCs, STs, women. We also have National Commission for the protection of child rights. Then in case of parliament, we study the parliament in polity, right? So we also study parliamentary committees. So here we will study the parliamentary committees through a view of governance. So what are their functions? What are the issues regarding the parliamentary committees? Um, we have leader of oppositions. So all those issues which are present in the parliamentary committees will be studied over here. We have parliamentary committees like Estimates Committee, Public Accounts Committee, Committee on Public Undertakings. So if you study PSC, Public Accounts Committee, CAG is called the friend and philosopher of the PSC, because CAG submits its report to PSC. As in, CAG submits its report to the president, but it is placed in front of Public Accounts Committee. Public Accounts Committee scrutinizes the report of CAG, and CAG, the Comptroller and Auditor General, helps CAG in doing its duties, right? Then in the second chapter we have the governance at state and district level. So state secretariats, directorates, and the district administration, how it is happening, role of the collector in the district. We have different rural and urban governance institutions, we study them. Then how services are delivered from government to the citizens will be studied. We have different cooperatives, state finance commissions. We study the panchayat, we study municipalities. In that we also study state finance commissions, state election commissions. So all those will be studied over here. And how powers are devolved to states regarding finances and regarding different things, and what are the challenges faced by the states or districts in case of finances, etc. We also study development corporations for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, BCs, minorities. In the central, we have studied that national commissions. In states, we study corporations. Corporations fund for the development activities of these backward sections. We also have corporations for disabled welfare. So, what are their roles? What are the drawbacks or issues which they are facing must be covered over here. We also study the control over administration, control over legislative, control over executive, and judicial control. We will study these in polity also. When we study interstate relations, we will study the administrative relations, legislative relations, executive relations, how they are devolved, how they are differentiated, and when there is emergency or when there is president's rule, how these powers change, all those must be studied. Then we have to study different programs, agencies, institutions which are working for urban and rural development. We study the people centered participatory development, as in we study the panchayat raj, municipalities, etc. Then how different poverty alleviation programs are working, like Manrega, etc., how they are working, how they are, what are the achievements of those schemes. Then we study women empowerment schemes, we study schemes related to health, education, food security, etc., and what are the challenges faced by those initiatives. Then we study different debates on development and development processes. We have different types of development initiatives, how different models of development are uh, happening, and what are the issues which the development process are facing. We have community based organizations, NGOs, SHGs, self help groups. We also have development through public private partnerships. We have charities. We also have corporate social responsibility, where corporates have to give back to the society. So all these things are studied in this topic. Then in the fifth unit we study the ethics and values of administration, which is a very important topic, how civil servants have to behave, what are the important characteristics like honesty, transparency, accountability, such type of neutrality. These characteristics and traits which a civil servant or a bureaucrat must possess must be studied over here. How there is a relation between politicians and civil servants, and what type of relation must be there, and presently what type of relations are there which are very detrimental to our democracy. Then we also study gender sensitization in our polity, bureaucracy, how transparency, accountability will be achieved, how should we prevent corruption in administration. To prevent corruption, we have right to information, right to information act was brought. We also have Central Vigilance Commission to look after corruption. We have CBI, we have Lokpal and Lokayukta to look into high profile cases, like if there is corruption charges for ministers, prime minister, etc. These Lokpal and Lokayukta will act as ombudsman, and they will look into those cases. Then we also have consumer protection mechanisms, and how right to information act is passed and what is the importance of it. And we also study important administrative reforms by utilizing the ARC reports. So you can utilize NCRT polity books to have a basis. Then we also study the second ARC report, which are important reports we study. Then we can also utilize the Lakshmikant's governance book. We can also refer to the Yojana magazines. You keep on updating current affairs and look into the government sites through ministries. You can, through the sites of ministries, you can go into different schemes, etc. In case of prelims questions, questions have been asked on good governance index. Questions have been asked on the purpose of the constitution. This also comes into polity and also in governance. And we have got questions on election commissioners, how election commissioners are appointed before 2024, after 2024 we have to know the amendments. Then we have national icon for voter awareness. Who is the national icon? So such questions based on current affairs have been also asked. There is a Belt and Road Initiative. It is not a governance question. There are questions on BIMSTEC and different BIMSTEC secretaries. Who are they? The names of them are given. They have to be arranged in order. Then in case of mains, we have questions like questions have been asked on Public Accounts Committee and its how it ensures accountability in the financial administration of the government. Then National Food Security Act question has been asked. Then a question on the district collector as a CEO of a district. Then there is decentralization and accountability in local bodies, question on local bodies and their functioning. Corporate social responsibility for sustainable development goals has been asked. Then decentralization as a tool for good governance, how we have to connect the good governance with decentralization. Then a question on Mission Karma Yogi for the civil services because it was in news. Then we have a question on poverty alleviation schemes, how it has ensured socio-economic development. So in this way, if we keep in mind different important topics of the governance, then we can easily prepare this topic. Right? I'll end the lecture over here. Thank you. We'll meet in the next lecture.